Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all the witnesses for being here today. And Dr. Kahl, I'd like to ask you, given the geographical obstacles and logistical concerns, is Israel even capable of striking Iran's nuclear facilities by themselves?
They are capable. It depends on what the target set is, but they would likely have to go after the Natanz enrichment facility, the Fordo enrichment facility, the Arak heavy water plant, the Esfahan uranium conversion facility, and likely a number of other places. They would need dozens and dozens of aircraft to be able to fly 1,000 miles to those targets. They have the military capability to do it. That said, they don't have the military capability, I don't assess, to set the program back very far. That is, they can get to their targets, they can drop bombs on their targets, but senior U.S. defense officials have consistently said that they think Israel at most could set the program back 1 to 3 years, and the lower end of that estimate seems more likely to me.
Okay, 1 to 3 years. That brings up my next question. How many years has it taken Iran to get to this point in its development of nukes?
The nuclear program started under the Shah, so it's been multiple decades since the 1970s.
So it's taken 40 years to get to this point.
Yeah, and our counterproliferation efforts both in the previous administration and this administration has slowed them down appreciably. I mean, they continue to make progress that's troubling, but they continue to be slowed down as well.
And an attack carried out by by Israel would only set the program back 1 to 3 years in your estimation. That
Correct,
accurate?
and I think the lower end of that estimate is more likely.
Okay. What does it take what do they need to do to develop a nuclear weapon?
Well, there are several major components.
Right. What are those?
The first is weapons-grade uranium.
Right.
That requires them to enrich to above 90%. So far, they've enriched a stockpile sufficient for about 4 bombs worth of weapons-grade uranium, but they've only enriched it to 3.5%. And then they have also a smaller stockpile of 20%.
At 3.5%, and they have to have it at what level?
So they've enriched several tons worth of low-enriched uranium at the 3.5% level, which is the reactor fuel level. They have also enriched a certain amount of 20% uranium, ostensibly for the Tehran research reactor. To go up to weapons grade, they would have to enrich that existing stockpile up above 90%, which, according to independent estimates, would take them somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 6 months. But it's important to note that if they tried to do it, they'd have to do it at either Natanz or Fordo, which are both under inspection, which means they get caught. So the first component is weapons-grade uranium. The second component is that they would have to have a weapons design and have done all of the various experimentation and manufacturing to actually construct even a crude device. And then they would have to figure out a way to deliver that weapon, which is why you have an estimate of about a year total from a decision to be able to generate a testable device and several years to be able to put one on a missile.
So you have to have the delivery system.
You have to have the weapons-grade uranium. You have to have the weapons design, and you have to have you actually assemble it, and you have to have a delivery system.
And there'd have to be tests of the delivery system, right, or not?
Well, it depends. It depends. If they're going to do an implosion device that is sophisticated enough to be put on the tip of a missile, they're probably going to have to test that. If they do a crude gun-type device like the weapons that we deployed in World War II, at the end of World War II, they might not have to test that.
In your testimony, you say, and I quote, I believe, meanwhile, in the aftermath of a strike, Iran is likely to rush to rebuild its nuclear program in a way that is harder to detect and more costly to stop. What do you mean by harder to detect? And if they're capable of that, why are they not doing that at this point?
Well, the major reason is that Iran remains a party to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and while they're not always very cooperative with the IAEA does do regular inspections to their declared facilities, which means currently it's actually very difficult for Iran to break out and develop a nuclear weapon without getting caught. The concern that some have expressed is that in the aftermath of an Israeli strike, for example, which is the scenario you mentioned, Iran would likely use that strike to shatter the international consensus currently isolating it and kick out the IAEA inspectors, which means that the international community would have a lot more difficulty seeing what Iran was doing, and Iran would have an easier time reconstituting its program in secret.
Are they getting full access now?
They have full access to the declared facilities. We don't know what we don't know, but they get full access to the declared facilities, and they're trying to get access with limited success to some of the facilities that might be related to weapons-related research. The Parchin facility is one example of that.
My time's expired. If I had any time to yield back, I would.